Are you still looking for a quick and easy way to make Canva frames? If so, Frame Creator by the Creatiff Girl is the perfect app for you. So let's get into it. With Frame Creator, you can turn any SVG, single layer or multi-layer SVG or PNG into a Canva frame. So right here, I have a 3-layer SVG that we've converted into a frame. It says it's 3 frames are detected. We're going to turn it into 1 frame. And then we're going to drag and drop it into Canva to test it out. And we'll come back and do a general overview of the app. So let's download it. 1.9 seconds. Let's go to the output folder. Okay, let's see. It is, okay, this is it here, 637. I'm going to just drag and drop that into Canva. Okay, let's change the background so we can see that it did keep the holes and the shape and everything. Okay. Let's go to elements. I'm going to drag and drop into the frame. Okay, so that was quick and easy. Okay, so let's go back to Frame Creator. So basically, like I said, right now we are in dark mode. The background is dark mode. Have light mode, dark mode. Um, you can drag and drop your PNG or SVG to the canvas, or you can drag and drop to the to this area here. So if you drag to the canvas, it's going to start processing instantly. But if you drag and drop to these fields here on the left, you can add your stroke and border elements and then press preview. So let's see, you have SVG, PNG drop zone. You can clear your files and you can add a stroke. Let's add a 10-point stroke. You can change the color of your stroke. Let's change the color to purple. Press preview. Okay. And you also can add border elements. I have pearl and rhinestone. The default size is set to 50. I changed it to 25 from something I was doing earlier. You can adjust the spacing. You can make it an offset or inset. And you can do just the outer, or it'll do all, which will do the inner areas that have negative space also. So let's get into it. Let's press preview for the pearl and the pixel stroke. Okay, so you can see both of them there. And you can choose to have the pearls in the back and the frame on top. So we're going to export it with the frame on top, so that way we can go, it makes it easier for us to drag and drop our design. So this took 1.9 seconds. Okay, this is it here, 641. Okay. Okay. So as you can see, let's go to position so you can see all the layers. So this is the pearl layer here. This is the stroke that we did. Well, it presents as a solid silhouette, but you can see that it's a stroke around the image. And then this is the frame here. So it came out on top. So let's drag and drop an image into the frame. And then let's move our pearl on top. So as you can see, that's the pearl. Let's turn the background black. So you can see that, and it moves separately. So that's how that works. So that's pretty neat. So it seems that the issue I was having with the old way to create camera frames is that it was turning it into a rectangle. So I had to update the app, and everything appears to be working correctly now. But now we are going to let's try a P. Okay, so now we're going to try a PNG. So let's do a solid silhouette first. We can do this one here. Okay, so let's see what that looks like with the pearl on top. Okay, but we're gonna turn it off for this export. Okay, it's saying that it's 30 frame because all of these little pieces. So what we're gonna do is just press the single frame and everything will be one solid piece. So, with Canva, I've noticed that if the design is not touching when I do single frame, that I had to create these little connectors that to help connect the pieces that had to bring everything together and connect parts of the app that had negative spaces. So in your settings, it's something that's called a connector strength, and it's set at 0.5, and you can adjust it as needed. Let me change it back down to 0.5 because that's the default while we're doing this. Okay, so you'll notice that it has these little small connectors going up to touch. So it's still saying 2 frames. So, well, let's see. Can run it again. But normally, okay, it was set at 0.75. So you can go up normally, but if you try to go back down, you just need to re-download clear the file and re-upload. Okay, so let's take this to Canva and see. Okay, this is it here, 6:45. Okay, just waiting on it to upload. Okay, let's go to positions and see. Okay, it still had one little piece here. And as you can see, that's it there. And we can just delete that. Just a little small artifact. Okay. So we can drag and drop an image into the frame. But even if you're the thing with I've noticed that with the camera frames now that if you're creating your SVG and you already have layers that have compound path, it doesn't respect that anymore. So, but what my app does is just provide connectors to help with that. So that way you can get a single frame or however many frames you want. Let's go to, okay, you can also do images that, what they're called embedded PNGs with an SVG, but you download it as an SVG. So this is a frame that I have here that we're going to upload. The rectangle black rectangle that's in the image is an SVG. So this is a mock-up that you can do. So let's download it. I need to, okay, this is it here. Okay, so this is a, let me change the background. So, okay, so yeah, this was a mock-up, frame mock-up. So you just drag and drop your image there. Okay, so let's go back to the app. Let's clear that out. And let's do some more. Got this high heel shoe that we can do. Okay, it's 2 frames. So we can leave it at 2 frames or we can convert it into a single frame. So let's go ahead and convert it into a single frame. And as you can see, it did add a connector there. It's a little small line. And depending on the file, you can go as low as 0.1 and that line will be very, very small where you can barely see it. Okay, so it did turn it into 1 frame because the connector was initiated with this SVG. Okay, so we can add a border to it or we can add a stroke. Let's add a pixel border to it. I'm sorry, not a pixel border, border elements, which is the pearl. We'll change it to 20. Let's do that. Okay, so we're going to put the frame on top so it'll be easier to drop the image and then we can move it with layers. Okay, we're going to download this. Okay, so you can see that it is one image and you can barely see the connector in there. You see it? Okay. Let's drag and drop the, okay, that's cute. We can send to the back or you can go to the layers panel. Okay, we sent that to the back and we still have our pearl border. And go to position, pearl border in the frame. And we can detach our image. But the one good thing about this app is that when you drag and drop your frame, you don't have to detach the image first. You can just go straight into dragging and dropping. Okay, let's turn the background to black. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to the app. Let's clear that out. And I want to show one that you can do multiple. Okay, so this one is going to be 36 frames. So, oh, let's turn this pearl border off. Okay, so as you can see, some of the holes didn't get created in some of the images. So what we're going to do with single frame, so we won't get a connector, we're going to, oops, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Um, let's go to, once this finishes, I'm going to go to settings. I don't want it to be 1 frame, so I'm going to clear this out. So you see that it created connectors between all of them. I'm going to change this to 0.1. So that way it'll be enough to just punch the holes out and not connect everything. So let's see. Okay. So, okay, so we're back at the initial state. So we're going to press single frame, and with it being 0 0.1, it's not going to connect them, but it'll go back and rerun it enough to put the holes in. Okay. Okay. So all of those are done, and when we upload this into Canva, it'll be 36 different frames. So you see that it ran at this time, but it's still saying that 36 frames have been detected, so we're good. So now we're going to download this as a PDF. Okay, 5.1 seconds, and let's come back out. Okay, this is it here. And you can add a prefix and a suffix to the file name so you'll know what is what. Okay. Okay, let's change the background to black so we can see everything good. Okay, so it did all of the letters. Let's create, we'll copy some words. Copy the M and the O. Paste them here. Let's spell out the word mom. As you can see, each one is its own frame. Okay. So each one is its own frame. So, like I was saying, this one is 36, but you can do up to 150 frames at once. So, let's see. Let's try some more. Let's do this butterfly here because I want to show you something. Since Canva has changed up the way that they process PDFs, um, sometimes with single frames, with single designs, even though it's showing that there's a hole in the image, I just go ahead and press, okay, so this one is showing it solid. So I'm going to press single frame. You see the holes in the image. It came up as 27 frames were detected. Okay, so it went in and punched out all the holes in there. Okay, so, and now it's back down to 1 frame. So now we're going to download this. – 7.8 seconds. Okay, drag and drop that into Canva. Hit another page. Okay, turn the background black so we can see it better. Okay. Okay, so drag and drop your frame. Okay. So basically, everything is about the same with the camera frames, but the single frame button has been a great addition to the app. So as I was saying, like with lower connector value, That's good for making sure the holes are punched out in your designs. And if you want everything connected, the default is 0.5, but you can increase the number as needed, but the connector will be more visible. Okay, so basically with the app, as I was saying, you can do SVGs, multi-layered SVGs, that you can combine into one single frame. And then the PNGs, you'll definitely have to use a single frame button there because unless you want each piece to be its own frame. And the stroke, you can change the color, adjust the width. Border elements, currently pearl and uh, diamond. And you can add prefix and suffix. And you can pick your file location and that for output, and that will be always be the populated file output folder unless you change it. So, and just remember, if you drag and drop to canvas, it's going to start processing instantly. And then if you drag and drop to the drop zone on the left, it'll drop, but you can add the stroke and border elements before you press preview. But you can do them the same here on the right, but it'll be just, you have to add it after you process and then press the preview button again. So that is it for the Frame Creator app. So if you have any questions, oh, and my bad, this is a Windows-based app. So it is not available for Mac. It's a Windows-based app, and it is a one-time purchase. And I will be updating the app, keep everything updated. And if you have any questions, just write your questions below. And thank you for watching my channel, and please stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.